All right, hey, what's up, guys? This has been a long time coming. Been meaning to do this for a while now. Just a little tour of my setup, because I got lots of weird and cool things going on in here. Let's see. First of all, this is Lucy. Hey, Lucy. Studio dog. Very good girl. All right, let's start with the synths. So I got, this is the Korg Case 700 FS. This is the reissue from a couple years ago. It's a monosynth, but it's a beast and basically a very versatile synth. I got this trick on here where I'm actually routing the headphone jack into the audio input on here, and it kind of has the effect of, this filter, the Traveler filter, is known for being it's a fixed resonance high pass filter and low pass filter, right? But I found that if you route the headphone jack into the audio input of the oscillator, it makes the headphone output kind of like a resonance knob for this filter and gives the synth like a lot more character. The Mod Wave, very cool synth, very versatile, very complicated. Admittedly, this is the one I know the least. I can do some cool things with it, and it sounds really cool when it's synced up with everything. But the wave state, I'm very proud of this one. I actually won this in a Volca Jam contest from Korg. I got the first prize, and they invited me up to the headquarters in Long Island to come pick this up. So that was cool. And they reached out to me like 3 years ago and asked if I wanted to do like a collaboration, and then I responded like, hell yeah. And they never got back to me. So if anybody at Korg knows anybody, I would still like to do that collaboration. That would be cool. That would be fun. All right, so then we got the Casio CZs. The classic phase distortion synths. If I had to choose like a desert island synth, it would be a tough call between this one, the Korg 700, or the Minilog XD. Those are the three synths. Those are the best in my opinion. So I modified this one a little bit. It has the OLED had like a dim LCD, and I changed that out for a bright OLED, and then I added a data encoder here, which is pretty cool because this didn't have any knobs, and so now it has a knob, even though it's a digital one. It doesn't, but still it's functional. And then I have the Op6, and like I said, the Minilog, and the Korg K-Oscillator Pro, which I then have modified with the RetroKits 002, so it's addressable over MIDI and it can be synced and all that. I'll get into that later. Okay, so now about the Volcas. Let's see, I have all 10 of the Volcas, and I posted the Dancing With You video on Reddit with the title, I use all 10 Volcas on this, which is almost true. Like I was just trying to find like a relevant title, for the Volca subreddit, honestly. And the truth is I have all 10 Volcas, right? I didn't really end up using the drum so much on that last one, to be honest. But every other one is on there, and some of them pretty prominently. Okay, so the sample. This is like the centerpiece of my setup. This has the toggle switches that are connected to the function buttons, the mute, and the memory, the save and the load. So with the function and the mute, that'll become a solo, and the function and that'll become save. So that's fun and functional, makes it so I can one-hand these things. And these buttons right here, the tack switches, those are linked, they're wired to the touch panels under here in pairs. So if you want to do like a step jump mode, you can do eighth notes instead of 16th notes, or you can hit two of them at the same time, and you can do quarter notes. And then let's see. Oh yeah, and in all these Volcas, I added clicky tack switches underneath all the rubber buttons. You can't see that, but yeah. So okay, these push buttons right here, these are normally open or normally closed. So yeah, open. So when you push them, it actually turns the analog isolator on at this value. So it'll cut the treble or cut the bass if you do that, and then you can hit them both with one button with one finger. That's why I put them close together, so I can do them with one hand. And then this one, it's modified, has a MIDI output, so the kick is actually being sent to the vocal kick up here. It's not a sample, and even if you could hear that sample on here, it's a dummy sample. It's nothing. It's got nothing on there. So, all right. So that's the sample. I think that's all the mods that I did on the Volca sample. The new bass and the FM, all the synth Volcas, they all have output gate mods on them, right? So you can turn them off and then you can re-engage them briefly with the momentary push button, which is fun. And then the Volca Mix has those same gates on every channel, except for the kick. You don't need that on the kick. The kick itself is not modified beyond using the RK002 to lower the incoming MIDI in octave, because I couldn't affect it from here, so I had to do it somewhere in between. So the RK002 really came in handy. It gets the MIDI down an octave, which is appropriate for the kick. The Volca modular has MIDI in and out mods, which is kind of fun because it can be a really cool, like, unconventional sequencer. It has the bounce and the stochastic modes, right? And so it's MIDI modded, and then it's got the function toggle switches, the memory toggle switches. It's got the output gate, and then I got the SQ1 controlling it with the split cable, which allows me to send the gate and the CV separately. Right now, I'm not sending the pitch to it, and the MIDI from the SQ1 is actually going into my trusty NTS1 here. So I actually didn't use that during Dancing With You, but another synth that I can use. And then the audio input on this is actually getting the auxiliary output send on the mix. So anything on the mix, if I want to add a little flavor from any of the effects on the NTS1, I can do that. So that's kind of cool. And then over here I have the iPad. I didn't use this during the last video, but I usually have it set up. Right now I have it on the Korg Electribe, and I have that synced up using the Korg plug key is in there. So it's also addressable on its own MIDI channel. The little K-oscillator here, I'm going to make another video on this because I got some really cool tricks I want to show off with this thing. I think this thing is really underrated. This thing is hooked up to here, so I have like a way to control the amplification of it, along with this is also connected to the right side of this. So it's a lot of complicated stuff in here, lots of passive mixers, MIDI daisy chains. I'm sure there's like a more expensive way to do this the right way, but I did it on the cheap and it works. I got lots of like MIDI Y cables, which I know are not recommended to chain those together, but I have, and it works. Okay, so then we got the sample, the new bass, the FM, the modular, and then we got the bass, the keys, the beats, and the drum. They all have the output gates on it, and the drum, I modified this little push button is linked to the depth knob on here, so you can record like non-linear jumps with that, which is pretty cool. Makes it sound pretty novel and different. Okay, what else? People were asking about how I get such a tight sync, and I have a system for how to do that. So what I would do is I would go through here and I would just solo everything but the kick, right? And then I would send it to Ableton through the alternate output, send it back to Ableton so I could record it and measure here on the output here. Let's see. And what's actually important is that I'm not monitoring it. I'm not listening to it. I got the monitor off. If you listen to it, it'll change the reading for whatever reason. So what I then zoom in here, and as you can see, it's a little bit ahead, but not by much. So if I find another point, it'll be a little bit ahead. See, again, 1 millisecond ahead. If I go and find another point, I'll probably find another point where it's behind, right? So that tells me it's actually within tolerance. It's perfectly in sync. So then at that point, I can do that with every other instrument in here and calculate the latency of every synth on here, right? And you get values that are like this. Here, these are like all the notes I took during making this song. Look, you go through and I measured the latency of every one of these synths, right? And then what you do is you go into here and you go into the track delays, okay? And you type in these values for every single one of your keyboards. Now, you might not want them all to come back to 0 exactly, right? You want to base this on feel. So in order to get things into the pocket, you might need to adjust it. But the Volcas most of them are about 15 milliseconds behind. The FM's a little bit more. It's like 20 usually. For whatever reason, the modular is not behind at all. It doesn't report any latency. It comes in at 0. It comes back right away, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, that's how I'm able to get everything tight. Oh, and real quick, some other things that I wanted to mention. These Volca stands right here. This 3 stand I got off of Etsy, and I customize it with all these stickers, and it has a back panel that attaches with these magnets that I'm pretty proud of. Did this whole collage on there, so that's pretty cool. That just snaps in there. And the same thing over here too. My initial plan was to have something to play live with, that I could take these out, but now they're all rigged together. It's so complicated, it wouldn't be feasible to do this in a live setup. Oh yeah, the other thing that I want to mention, the modification on the beats. I did the snare mod, so now it has a more impressive snare sound on there. And then the other thing that I wanted to show off was this thing that I have right here. So this is the Alesis 3630 compressor. Now, this is like a bargain basement piece of outboard gear, right? This is not a fancy compressor. However, for those in the know, this is the piece of gear that Daft Punk used on Homework and Discovery. Basically, it can be modified. You can change one of the VCAs. I think you swap out some of the resistors and capacitors, and you lower the noise floor, and you fix the artifacts with the gate. Anyways, long story short, modify it. Something that I've already done. I already modified this whole thing. I just haven't had a chance to work it into my setup. So what I'm going to do, the plan is to get the kick to be the key for the sidechain, because this is like the sidechain gear. This is the one that made the sidechain popular, arguably. So anyways, I have that. I haven't worked that in yet. Haven't figured out exactly how that's gonna work, but someday. So yeah, that's basically my setup. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. Right, and then people were asking me how I control the arrangement of the set, right? Okay, so Ableton is doing all the MIDI that I've recorded, and I'm basically blasting all the MIDI at all the keyboards, and then unmuting them when I need to, right? And then using the little noodle pad right here, the little keypad right here, I can turn the loop on and off, or I can go to the next scene or the next section. I can start and stop and do all that. I can undo, redo. So that's what that thing is all about. And people were asking about vocals. No, that's actually me on the track. I know I'm not the greatest, but people were saying AI vocals, and I kind of take that as a compliment that they were clean and successful. If you think that it's AI, so. But yeah, no, I use this Shure KSM 27 that I've had for 20 years. My mom gave it to me for Christmas. No, geez, longer, 25 years. Yeah, so I think that's it. What else? Did I forget anything? This is Lucy, very good girl. And Oh yeah, so I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I'm actually glad that I did because I gotta tear all this down by tomorrow. I gotta pack it all up and put it into storage. I know it seems like I might be really well off, but I got nothing. I'm broke, and I've been working minimum wage jobs for the past couple of years, and I can't afford this place anymore. So I'm in the New York City area. I gotta find another place. Um, so yeah, moving on to the next stage. But I'm looking for another place. I'm in Manhattan, and I'm trying to find a affordable place to live so I can set all this stuff up again. So all right, everybody, thanks for listening. Oh, and I want to thank everybody for the feedback. It's been really encouraging. And if anybody has any other like specific questions, I'm sure I didn't cover everything that I wanted to. So yeah, thanks.